in the dating world, I've seen a few podcasts on it. I can't say I've like read any research on it, but like, I'd love to know what your perspective is on, and it may not be a black and white answer, but who has it worse, like men or women? Because I see both sides, and maybe, it's like, I'm not trying to rage bait you into like, oh, it's women. Ah, gotcha. I'm going to clip you and put you online. But I guess, like, or maybe a better question is like, what are each side kind of struggling with? Because there is a lot of tension from what I hear on like debates and podcasts and things like that, where like, oh, young men are just like in their basement vaping at their parents' house and kind of like got nothing. And then like men are trying to date older because the men are, growing up slower and stuff like that. Like, what's your, I don't know, I guess like read on the pulse?
My read on the pulse is skewed, right? Because I work predominantly with women. I mean, I do have conversations from time to time with men, but I see and have the lived experience from a woman's perspective. So
Yeah.
it is skewed, and I do think it is hard for women. But I also think there is good guys out there, but it seems like there's a higher percentage of idiots or whatever. But I know from working with clients that they go out and meet these amazing guys that like have the decent characters and the qualities. So they do exist. It's just they don't get spotlighted enough because they're probably just living like quiet lives and being unproblematic, and it doesn't get talked about as much, right? So I think we need more of them. And I think the landscape is changing, like with social media and like podcasts and people being on TikTok and everything, like sharing those experiences. It is getting spotlighted more. So hopefully, we will see a shift in more of the healthy relationships coming back and people with character. Because again, a lot of the idiot stuff is, it's character that's not, embodied, right? It's like not acting in integrity a lot of the time.
So where are the good guys hiding? If there's so many idiots out there, like, what are they doing? Like, are they just like, are they not dating, or are they like,
Well, maybe you can speak to this, Brock,
like,
because you're married and all your friends are married. So where were you guys hiding?
yeah, well, I can only speak for myself. But like, I had this belief, and maybe it was wrong or right, but I just thought that I would just live my life and just meet someone doing the things that I enjoy. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that was work, so I did a lot just on my own. And I actually met my wife at the gym, so she was there. Like, my good friend Dave was training her company, and she trained at the gym. And yeah, I saw her, he knew her, and then like I overheard her talking one day about going to Bali for her 30th. I butted in, was like, I've been to Bali, where'd you go? Blah, 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 just like looking for an excuse to talk to her. And then from there on, we like started dating. But I I didn't necessarily go to bars or like just because that was like that's never my vibe. Like I never really
Yeah.
because I don't drink, so I'm like, well, why would I kind of go to a bar where most people drink and stuff like yeah. Anyway, so I just thought like I would just go along my merry way and just meet someone, and that happened. But so I think I'm a pretty bad example because other than that, I was just like sitting on my laptop working, or
I don't, well, yeah,
I
I
was
don't
in
think
the
it's a bad
gym,
example.
personal
I
training
think it's a
people.
great example.
Right.
Because that's what we should all be doing, right? Like, I think with the, invention of apps, now we have this belief like I can only meet someone through apps because most people aren't going out anymore drinking, right? Like, life's busy, whatever, it's just not the same scene. But that's the best advice, I think, is just living a life that fulfills you, and whether that's volunteering, gym, classes, whatever. If you're living that life, then you're going to come across like-minded people at some point, right? Like, might not be on the exact timeline that you would prefer, but like you are going to meet those people.
Yeah, but yeah, I totally agree. Like that's what if I was going to give any dating advice, which I definitely don't recommend you kind of consume, but like it's just to like I just believe that like that I would just do my own thing. But I was also open to it. Like I wasn't like just doing my own thing with my headphones on and being like I'm not talking to anyone.
Yeah,
Like I'm going to meet them on my own terms. Like I was just fortunate enough to see her in the gym frequently, and I was like, oh, I think she's
yeah,
beautiful. And my friend, like I was like, what's she like? Blah 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 blah. Like that. And then, you know, as soon as we started talking, I tried to get a date ASAP. Once again to actually figure out who she was. But I saw her training at the gym and kind of like laughing with her friends and all that kind of stuff. So I had like a little feeling. But I feel like that advice is quite hard to consume when people are working more so at home, not going into the workplace. And like you said, like the social setting's very different. There's apps now that, you're kind of fighting against big tech to like put your phone down and go out and potentially face a rejection or face, I don't know, like, oh, no, thanks. Or, maybe they'll invite it if you try to talk to someone, but it's that uncertainty where on an app you can kind of guarantee that if you like hit someone, you both hit like that, you're both on the same page. Like you don't get that awkward, like, oh, I don't know if they dig me or not. So it's quite hard. Like, I don't know. Like, what would you say to people that are, I don't know, just like trying to meet people on apps and that's about it? Or just like being fixated on like meeting the perfect person and not going out there and meeting?
Yeah, I think, like you said, probably most people are, if they're single and if they've been single for a while, kind of have built into that, routines and things they do to, socialize and whatever and get out. And then are kind of using apps to complement that as well, like to open up extra opportunities. And that's all you can really do. But I think the clearer you get on what you want, because a lot of the clients that I work with, they might have had really bad experiences on dating apps and, had no luck for years. And then once they switch how they're showing up, like, and then when we do some energy, type work, like processing stuff from the past and getting clear on what they are looking for, that's when it kind of opens up. It just gets easier to sort through because there's heaps of people online, right? So it's like, how do you really sort through that when you've not got a whole heap to go on? So it's like, the clearer you get, it's like, it kind of, I don't know, taps into something that just makes things work a lot smoother.
So do you think that when you're out in the world, like what are some things that you could do to, I don't know, potentially like attract a mate or like be out there and like see people? Because like I did things like not intentionally to try and like get a girlfriend or anything, but I would play challenges with myself just out of curiosity and maybe just being a weirdo. But like if I was in an elevator with someone, and this like wasn't if it was like just a chick, it was like, like once again, it wasn't for dating. But I would play these weird games, like I would just like talk to people. Like I would make sure, because I wanted to get better at talking to people. Because I thought that that's something that I really need to work on. Like when I was becoming a personal trainer and you have to approach people to try and offer you services that really don't want to hear from you. You're like, they got their headphones in on the treadmill. You're like, hey, I'm Brock. Would you like to train? So I was trying to get better at, I don't know, what's that? Like just starting a conversation. So I would talk to people in the elevator. I'd say like, hey, how you going? And like sometimes people would like literally flat out just ignore me. And I'll be like, oh, all right, sweet as. And next. But I kind of saw it as a game. Like if I walked past someone while I was going for a walk, I would say good morning. And I still do it today, just out of curiosity to see if people are going to say hi or not. And unfortunately, I feel like I get less hellos now, unless I talk to someone that's like, I don't know, 40 plus, and then they like actually want to talk, but the rest are kind of like, just leave me alone. But like even if I was shopping, now it's self-serve. So once again, it makes it a bit harder. But like if there was, someone taking the groceries and I'd be like, hey, how's your day? You know what I mean? Just like kind of like pointless shit. But I feel like that kind of built up a bit of a, I don't know, like an automatic conversation starter, like inside. What kind of things would you recommend people try?
Well, and then when you came to meet, your wife, like it was easier for you to approach, right? Because it's like you built up.
It still wasn't easy though. Like especially when it's someone that you think's really like it's easier to talk to like a 16-year-old, someone that's just like putting your groceries through, and talking to someone that you think's really beautiful. But it definitely made it easier with the reps of me talking to strangers.
Yeah, totally. I think as well, it just reminded me of something I did years and years ago. I went to like a personal development event and it was like you had to walk around the room and find the partner that you're going to do the next exercise with. And they were like, if you look at someone and they like look away, it's like they're not ready for you yet, right? So it's like, obviously it's always going to be rejection, but it's how we interpret it and the story we tell ourselves about it, right? That like makes the difference. So I think keeping that in mind, but like you said, the best thing to do is just to be as much of yourself as possible, right? In the environments that you're comfortable in. And just working up that muscle so that you're open and receptive to something coming along, right? Versus kind of like keeping your head down, being that person that is like, no, I'm not open to anything. You're going to do a lot better in life if you can have that kind of like receptivity and the radar, right? Of like emitting that signal of like, I am being my best self and, I'm open to meeting someone, having that intentionality.
Yeah, one thing I saw growing up, which was like painful but also awesome as an adult, like kind of seeing it, was like my dad would like talk to every single person if he knew them or not. He was just like, he's just like Mr. Charisma.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I learned where it's like he's just like, don't be afraid to ask or just say how, like he would. So my dad's a Maori from New Zealand. So if he just saw like we would be literally anywhere. If he just saw like a kind of like a Maori looking dude with the, I don't know, he'd be like, "Kia ora, bro," like not even know them, and just like start up a conversation if we're in Australia or if we're like out, and he'd just like literally want to connect. And I was like I say painful because like growing up we were just always stopping, like just randomly stopping. But then, like, as I got older, I was like, that's actually really awesome. And I feel like we could do with more of that. Anyway, side note.
Yeah.